Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, dear viewers and listeners. Welcome back to yet another episode of Beauty Lies Beyond Podcast with me, Miriam Rose. Today we are joined in studio by yet another amazing guest, and I'm going to let her introduce herself, as is the custom.
My name is Wanjiru Mukami, and I'm a student of life, and I've taken quite an interest in understanding the world that we live in, the principles that run it, and I am also a herbalist. That is, I know my way around using plants to heal diseases and also prevent them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that last part about you.
I don't think I mentioned it, but yeah.
What? Yeah. Now we have to talk about that herbalist. Cool. But first, before we get into... So how I even met her was through her content. She has very profound wisdom about the universe. And I have all these questions to ask her. So we're going to talk about that and herbalist afterwards.
Okay.
So, but first, before that, I'd like you to maybe share with us your background, like where you grew up, maybe your spiritual background as well, because it's a spiritual podcast.
Okay, so yeah, I was born in Nairobi.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in Nairobi, and I was raised in Nairobi. And I was always a very curious child. Just one of those children who are always asking questions, but I didn't outgrow my curiosity. It just followed me.
Yeah.
So when I was a teenager, I really questioned religion. But when I was a teenager, it was not... You're not allowed to, because I went to Christian schools, so you couldn't really do it out loud. But I had questions, and nobody was answering those questions. So I became somewhat very doubtful, and I didn't participate in religious practices unless it was forced. Like, if you went to 844 school system, you know what I'm talking about. But when I was like 18 years, I was just like, you know what, I'm an atheist. It's like, you know what, I'm an atheist, and nobody can tell me anything otherwise. It's like, I'm an atheist, and I will stay an atheist until I'm able to prove myself wrong or somebody proves me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So I stayed an atheist for like maybe 8 years. But even during that time, I read a lot. Like, I've always been a very curious child. So I was obsessed. Like, I still used to read stuff around spirituality, even though at that time it never used to make sense to me. But I was just like, let me give it a chance. You never know. So I was like a loyal reader of Alan Watts. I don't know if you know Alan Watts. Yes, I was doing Alan Watts from like 21 years old. I was doing Alan Watts, and then afterwards I came to read on people like Dolores Cannon, Eckhart Tolle, such writers.
Maybe that's why we are vibing.
Yeah. But I still stayed skeptical, but I was just like, you know what? I'm going to give it a chance. So, but around when I was 25 years, it was around, we're going into COVID. We had a lot of time. And, it was around COVID. Maybe I was 24. I can't remember. And that's when I went deep into it. I was just like, you know what? I want to learn more. But that was not the main reason. The main reason was that I was very sickly. Very sickly.
Since you were a child?
Yes.
Okay.
Child, I've just had issues like, be it I've struggled with gastrointestinal issues to the extent where I would say almost killed me. And then I had asthma for the longest time. And then I was just one of those children who are always sick with something. So it was either the flu, a chest infection, a stomach. It was just something for me. I was just that child.
Mm-hmm.
So I had struggled with asthma. My asthma showed up when I was about in class 7, I was about like 12 years. Though looking back, I think there were symptoms prior, just like it was not as pronounced. And it really shaped how my life became, because I had to take these medications, and they kind of affect even your growth and whatnot. And schooling, there was a time I used to miss a lot of schooling and whatnot. Anyways, by the time I was around in my 20s, because I had been taking I've been taking so much medication since I was a child, my gut bacteria got really affected. which now led me to start having gastrointestinal issues, which now also turned my life around. So I was in and out of hospital. At some point, I was even like admitted, and it was really, really bad. And I got out and I started getting well, but I was not satisfied because my life was dependent on drugs. I had to take medication all the time. And the issues were just recurrent. So I'd be like good for like a month, and then the next month it was something. I was just tired of it. And I remember one day I told my mom, you know what, I'm gonna look for herbs. I'm gonna look for a herbalist. I'm gonna look for, and I did, and that's how I got into herbs. But then getting into herbs now, I started asking more questions because I remember like growing up, it's just like, no, herbs are not tested. There's not enough research on them. It's dangerous. It will kill you, your kidneys. So I was just like, wait a minute. Maybe everything else is a lie. So I went back to now religion and spirituality because I understand pharmaceuticals and colonialism and religion go hand in hand. Just like, wait a minute. And then I started going back in history and then learning that when colonization was happening, they actually used to kill the healers. So just like, wait a minute. Just like started asking a lot of questions. So now I started researching on healers. And not just African healers, all over the world. And I would find all these videos online. I'm just like, they can't be lying. They can't be lying. So I decided to now go into books. And any book I would find around energetic healing, herbal healing, meditation, I started doing it. So I started meditating every morning and every evening. I started every plant I would come across. I would use the certain app called Plant Something that you can take a picture of a plant and it will give you all the details of that plant. And then I would try to figure out, can this plant be a medicine? And I would take it even if I didn't need it. Mm-hmm. And then I met other people who are also in plant healing and whatnot. And, we were all very curious about. So now I took the plants and I started getting well. And even the people around me were just like, you know what, we've noticed that you're actually healthier. You've not used your inhaler in so long.
Wow.
We've not seen you taking your PPIs. PPIs are tablets you take when you have a lot of acidity. So you have to take them before or after you eat to avoid reflux. So you've not been taking your PPIs. You seem very healthy lately. Just like, yeah.
Wow.
Like, yeah.
So it worked.
It did.
I mean, you look really pretty and really healthy. So clearly it
worked.
It
did. And it was such a relief for me because that was the first time I lived my life without going to hospital. Wow. And now, you see that, you see a breakthrough from something you've been suffering from a long time. And it's just like, you know what? There is more. There has to be more. There has.
Yeah.
So I remember one time, and I'll never forget this time. I had a dream. It was a very vivid dream. I dreamt in like ancient times. So I was like in those like pre-colonial times. And there was this woman and she showed me like 2 trees. She's like, you see, if you mix this tree and this tree, it can help you with asthma. And not just you can even use it on other people. Like, wait, what? So I woke up and I called my friend and he asked me, can you find the tree? Can you, like, I'll try and walk around and look for the tree. So where I found it was also where I dreamt. So I just took a around where I used to live and I found the tree. And I Googled it and true to it. So it's like, there has to be something more. There has to be something more that we don't understand.
Is this a woman you recognize?
No.
Could be your higher self in that dimension, which we will talk about.
Who knows, At that time, I was just like, you know what? There is something more. And I'm going to find it. Because I also used to struggle with existential crisis. Like, I have to find it because I need somebody to justify my existence, somebody to explain to me why. You see, if you're a person who struggled in life, you ask, why was I struggling? There has to be a reason. So I did that and I started meditating. I used the Eastern method. So I started meditating a lot. And within 2-3 months of meditation, I was sure there was something else. There was something bigger than us. There was something bigger than religion. There was something bigger than dogmas. There was something bigger than anything that we can see. There was something.
So was that the end of your atheism?
Yeah.
Was this the culmination of...
It was the end of it. Oh my God, let me tell you, I was going crazy. It was like, you guys won't believe, because all of my friends are atheists. So it's just like, you people will not believe what I've just come across. And it's like, is everything okay? Are you going through like some kind of... So I'm just like, no. You have to see it. You have to see it to understand there is something. And then I remember I told my friends, because we are all skeptics, I'm going to make a point of talking about this journey at every stage. So every 1 month I would update them, and every time I would update them, they'll get less and less, because it's like, is she okay? But it's like every time I would have an encounter, I would let them know, like, this time I experienced this, and I would even try to argue it out, to try and almost gaslight myself out of it, because I'm just like, there's no way. But yeah, I started meditating, and I came across what people would call the higher self or the soul. Yeah, I did. And that was just a confirmation for me. And when I was an atheist, I had this joke that I used to tell people, that I don't believe in God, but when God shows him or herself to me, I will devote myself to understanding God, whatever God is, whatever it is outside, whatever dogma is, I will devote and that's exactly what I did. So I almost became a crazy person. Like, I stopped hanging out, I stopped going out. I was just reading, meditating, learning plants, reading, meditating, learning plants. And yeah, and the whatever we perceive as God and whatever is something so big and vast that it's even difficult to explain it. And as human beings, I guess because our minds were not created to fully understand that concept, we created these limitations as religions and dogmas as a way to kind of make sense of what God is, because even the name God does not define whatever that is. It is something that is so vast, and honestly is mesmerizing, is all that I can say.
Yeah.
So that's how my journey became a journey, and it is through that I learned how more about herbs. And then much later on, my higher self was just like, no, you can actually just use your mind. You can just use your mind to heal yourself. Like, yeah, you can use plants, but you can just use your mind. Do you know that? I was just like, what? And then I started learning. Every time I'd be shown something else and something else. And I'd use it on myself and some of my friends. And we'd all be like, oh my God. And I'd show my friends and be like, they would also have results. Yeah.
Give us an example.
So I'll give you a good example. So if you've had if anybody who's watching this who's had severe stomach issues will tell you that it's easier to heal a broken leg than a gut system that is destroyed. It takes much longer. So even though I was taking the herbs and I could now eat whatever I want, I didn't have so much bloating, I didn't have acidity, I still didn't have enough good bacteria. I didn't have the balanced bacteria. And also because the lining of my stomach was completely destroyed to the extent that my gut was leaking. So a leaking gut takes so long to heal. You have to take like these probiotics for like a really long time. But I was kind of tired of it. I wanted to get well immediately. And I remember one time when I was meditating, just like, you don't have to take those, because I was taking prebiotics and probiotics. Some I used to make at home. I used to make like kombucha, kefir, and I would also take herbs that have prebiotics. I was like, I want these, because now my mind is open. I know that you don't have to take medication for a long time to get well. You can get well in a day. And much as it's unbelievable, it is true. So one day when I was meditating, my soul was just like, pull as much energy as you can. And anybody who's been meditating, you understand this concept where you can pull as much energy from your spine as much as you can and center it in your stomach for as long as you can. And I felt such a huge burning sensation around my stomach. And then it just faded away. And I remember like just feeling different feeling completely different. Now, because my gut had an issue, my skin used to break out. But that's normal. Like if you have gut issues, your skin is going to break
that's
out.
how you know.
My breakout stopped, and I could eat things that previously would give me gas. I was just eating anything, and I was so excited. I even started taking things like sugar that I normally would not take, just because of how excited I was. Then we tried it with another friend of mine. She was having constant infections around her throat, and it's like, let's do it. We did it together, and instantly she just coughed once, and then that was it. This is something that she had been struggling with for months. She'd been to hospital like 3-4 times.
So the same pulling, the energy from the Kundalini.
Yeah.
That I'm shook.
Yeah.
But I believe it.
Trust you me. You know, like sometimes we would even sit down and think to ourselves, ama tuna imagine. You start to question it. Just like, are we imagining it? But then you do it with another person, you do it with another. Like, no. And you go online and you read other people's experiences, and they are just as similar to yours. And that's how I came to understand that we are the gods. We are the ones with the power. It's like we make ourselves sick, and we also heal ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was such an eye opener for me, because it's like you're no longer a victim. You no longer cry that, I'm suffering, I'm this and that. You can't get yourself out of that situation just by the strength of your own will. And yeah, that was quite something.
Hey, nimenyamaza. I did not see this coming. Can I have 2 questions on that before we move? Can you give us like 2 or 3 other examples of healings that have happened, just in case someone might relate to it? And the second question is, how do you conjure up will? Like, is it something that for a soul that is more elevated who is able to conjure up, or is anyone? Because
so, okay, I'm gonna start with the first. I'll give maybe another example. Well, let me think. Some of these stories are not mine to tell, but I know somebody who struggled with alcoholism for 3 decades.
wow.
And if you've seen somebody who struggled with alcoholism for 3 decades, you've seen what they look like. They're almost dead. And I didn't do this, but a friend of mine did. Just one healing session. This is somebody who had been in rehab almost 5 times. Lost everything, job, family, like your own family are tired of you. Your organs are failing as well. Just one session. He did just one healing session. And he didn't go back to being an alcoholic. And he didn't get the shakes. He didn't get the withdrawal symptoms. He just went back to living a normal life.
Nice.
Somebody who was completely underweight, they literally had all the symptoms of severe alcoholism physically. They just went back into living a normal life. And everybody around him was so skeptical, kept observing. Weeks went by and months went by, and like, oh my God, this is real. He started adding weight. The next time I saw him, he was such a handsome man. I was like, I didn't know you could be this handsome. I didn't know you could be this handsome.
Wow.
And yeah, just I've seen so many. I've seen people heal from mental illnesses. People heal from physical ailments. I've seen people heal from their own weaknesses. Maybe somebody just has very violent tendencies and they're tired of them. Just by them seeking help or even doing it themselves, they've gotten healed. So for me, the concept of healing outside Western medicine has become so normal to me that I'm no longer shocked by it, because I've seen it too many times to doubt it. Yeah. So the next question was about will. So how you build will is by forcing yourself to do something that is usually very difficult for you to do. For example, I was a very restless child. I always joke that if I was born now, when every child is being taken to see a psychologist, I would have been diagnosed with ADHD, because I could never sit still. I could never concentrate. I'm always like, those kids? I was those kids. So meditation for me was so difficult because just a minute into the meditation, I'm already fidgeting. And with meditation, you have to stay completely still and maintain a stillness of the mind. And it was very difficult for me to master meditation and to even be consistent with it. I fell off many times, but I always kept going back and pushing myself. And the more I did it, the more I noticed that my will had grown. And I also started doing things that normally would be, like anything that I hated doing, I would force myself to do it. Like if I hate doing exercise, I would force myself to start now doing exercise. I would pull myself from my comfort zone into something very uncomfortable, and my will would respond in that as well. And that will is what now I would use for my own spiritual advancement, healing, knowledge, what stuff like that. I've seen other people do martial arts to build their will. I've seen people do heavy lifting to build their will. Anything that is generally difficult for you to do. Other people would do, say, if you're a smoker, you stop smoking. Or if you're gluttonous, you find a way to force yourself to just eat normally. That actually is the purpose of fasting. A lot of people don't understand why their religious text asks them to fast. The purpose of fasting is to build will. When it's like you're going against your own self, and by doing that, you end up going inside of your own self. By going away, it's such a conundrum. By going away from yourself, you go inside of yourself. And that's why most religious texts will have difficult exercises like maybe fasting or don't do this, don't do that. Is a way to force you to kind of like go back inside of yourself by retracting from your own habits and behaviors. Yeah, that's how you build will.
Wow. I like that because I've always been resistant to fasting. But now that you've said that, I think I might consider it because will, if you build your will, you have a very strong will. Most things are almost possible. Like life becomes simpler.
Even like
ironically.
Even putting yourself on just a particular diet.
Or showering with cold water. That's my thing.
Yeah. I also put myself on like a vegan diet. And also that helps. So there are forms of yoga actually. Like there are different forms. So it's like if you meditate, that's also a form of yoga. Put yourself on a diet is also a form of yoga. If you do physical exercise, it's also a form of yoga. So the more you do, I guess, the faster the will builds. I don't know.
I think so. It's a muscle. The more you speak, I feel like will is a muscle.
Yeah.
That works the way muscles work. If you build it, it grows. If you it doesn't work if you don't. There's a word I was looking for. So I have so many questions. I want to take you back a bit on the atheism. So what questions did you have that made you come, other than the being sick? Was that primarily what made you go into that journey, or what existential questions did you have, if you can recall them?
Just didn't make sense to me. First of all, like, what do you mean I have to praise something that is all powerful? Why does it, so I never used to do those like praise, Nini. And then you'd go to church and people are crying. Why are you crying? If this, like, why are you weeping? Everybody's so sad. Munalia Nini, like I was a kid, but that used to bother me so much. And also I've always had a very keen eye. I will notice things that other people notice. But something that I struggled with is the concept of evil. It took me a long time to understand it. So for me, I would struggle with the fact that, what do you mean people can do others so wrong? There can be so much evil. There can be so much struggle in a world of a God that is all loving. And so you say. And also, why does this God have so many religions? And why are you guys not getting along? If you're all talking to the same God, you should be all having the same unanimous understanding of this God. So just like, I'm not going to participate until, because to me, personally for me, if something doesn't make sense to me, I don't do it. Ever since I was a child. Like I'd be given instructions like, oh, go do this. Like, why? and you better have an explanation for you. You better have an because I'm not going to do it if you don't give me a very good explanation for why you want me to do something. So yeah, that's how I just, because it was, even the things that, okay, I grew up Christian, even the, you're in church and people are like, oh, I'm nothing without you, I'm not worthy. Yeah. Like, there's no way I'm singing that. Like, even as a child, I was just like, there's no way I'm singing that. There's just no way. There's no way I'm going to sing that. But afterwards, I came to understand the reason why I was struggling with religion is because religion was being explained to me literally. Afterwards, in my journey, I actually went back and read the Bible from first page to the last page. I read some of the Quran, then I read the Bhagavad Gita, yeah. And I actually like the Bible so much right now. I even bought myself one. I was like, I love this book. I enjoy it right now because I'm able to understand that they're not literal stories, they're allegories to teach us lessons. But you see, the problem I was having with it is because the way it was being taught to me, it was like, you go to hell. What do you mean? And even the concept of being born of sin, it's like I wasn't buying that. I really was not. What do you mean I erred? Just the first time I opened my eyes like this, I erred. So I really struggled with that. And I remember when I was like 13 years, my mom had me do confirmation lessons.
Watcha, you Anglican?
No, I was PCA. PCA also
They also
have,
do?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I went like 3 times and I got bored. I was just like, you don't make sense. So I just stopped going.
I'm laughing because you're like literally like my twin. Everything you're saying is everything I went through.
Yeah,
so that's
like,
interesting.
Every time I would listen to those, and then another thing I used to struggle with is the symbols of those religions would be the most awful people I know. It's like it was so difficult for me to reconcile. Yeah, I was like, you're so horrendous with this religion of yours. So it's like, you know what, I'm not going to participate in it. And also part of it was also coming from an anger of where were you when I was sick, ulikuwa wapi? So I was just like, you know what, you are probably not there because they don't exist. So I just just like, but I always say to myself, a true intellect and a true scientist always leaves room for correction. So every time we'd have like debates. I love debating with religious people, putting them. So and it's like, if you actually prove to me that God is there, I'll go to church. If you prove to me, or even if God shows right now, I will do it. So there was always, I was not like stuck in atheism. For me, it was more of a journey that if somebody proves me wrong, and I proved myself wrong, I did it for myself. And it's one of, I think, my greatest moments, I'd say, because not only did I prove myself wrong, I proved the system wrong. I proved Western medicine wrong.
Yeah.
I did it. You know what I was telling a friend of mine? I've seen so many specialists, but I did it.
Yeah.
I feel so good that nobody is responsible for the health that I have right now other than for my own self. I did it.
Yeah. So what would you say to atheists? Because I bet some of your friends are still atheists. They all didn't. Is it a personal experience? Are people atheists because it's a personal experience that they've lacked or gone through and they're like, me don't believe in this?
I was friends with a lot of atheists, and I talk with quite a few of them. But something funny. So one thing I learned about atheists, at least for most of them, for the ones who are truly intellectuals, a lot of atheists are very intelligent.
Yes.
Very, very intelligent.
Yeah.
And they were not closed off to the idea. But now the thing with these is that your journey to yourself is so personal that there's no way for you to document it to prove to other people. So with atheists, you can only wait until it's their turn. But some of my friends who are atheists, we're also on the same journey and we laugh about it. Yeah. Not just one, not just two, a lot of them. And we're all questioning, and everybody had their own reasons. Some were just something they experienced and they were doubtful. Others were just intellectuals. They want hard facts. And for me, I find that so beautiful that somebody just wants to know. Some people will view atheists as rebels. No, they are hungry for knowledge. Lucky you that you can just be told A, B, C, D and accept it. And remember, some of us just twist and turn at night if we don't have the right information. For some of us, like I have to know. I have this problem where I have to know. And a lot of people, and it's not even a problem because why it not for these curious minds? A lot of the things we have now, we would never have discovered them. Our advancement as a human species is solely based on curiosity. Part of it is survival, but the best part of it is actually curiosity. There was no need for microphones. There was no survival need for microphones. There was no survival need for cameras. It was just curiosity.
Yeah.
Just that. Like, I wonder how it would be if we could record ourselves talking. And just by that thought, microphone was created. Yeah. So, I don't know, society also tends to have a very negative view of atheists, but some of even the most empathetic people I've met, they were atheists. They're really genuinely, really nice people. Genuinely, like, very, really nice people, very considerate, very logical, even the way they approach things like politics, society. They were just really, level-minded. It's a space where you find the least sexism, the least misogyny. It's a very grounded space because all of them they are seekers of understanding. For most people who've walked this journey, they were atheists at a certain point. Be it for a year, 10 years, 20 years, they were atheists. And it's because atheism is the point of unlearning so that you can relearn from a different perspective. Yeah. And it's a very, very important stage to go through. And I enjoyed my atheism stage. Like, I've enjoyed, if there's a journey in my life that I've enjoyed, is this journey of knowing. I've really enjoyed knowing. The unlearning and the relearning has made my life worth it. Is maybe the one thing that I would say has really shaped who I am. So, yeah, and they'll come around, or even if they don't, it's okay.
Yeah, do you believe in reincarnation?
It's not I know it's there.
It's not a belief. Oh,
yeah.
I think we need to replace the term belief.
Yeah.
Even me, I have an asterisk too.
Mine is a knowing.
Yeah.
Like, everything that I speak about is a knowing that I came into through my own experience. So one thing about me, I don't talk about something that, when it comes to these topics, I don't talk about something that I've not experienced. So if you notice that all of my examples are things that I myself participated in. And the reason for this is because when I was an atheist, the argument that the atheist would use against the Christians was, you just had it from somewhere, you don't even know. So I wanted to know.
Yeah.
This journey is called Gnosis because it's a journey of knowing. I wanted to know. So I know a lot of things, and with time, I guess. But yeah, reincarnation is there, but it's a very complex, even the way people explain it is not the way it happens. It's a very complex, so let me try and explain it. The major purpose for reincarnation, first of all, let me just start from scratch. The one thing about the human experience is we remove ourselves from godhood and live as human beings so that we can walk towards godhood again, so that we can walk towards remembrance. And the purpose of reincarnation is specifically for that purpose. So I don't know if you understand the concept of archetypes, conscious archetypes. So God, or the all mind, which I like to call it the all mind, or the one mind, which is the mind with which we exist inside of, has different aspects of itself. Some people get to experience all those aspects in one reincarnation. Some others experience it through different reincarnations. So in this reincarnation, you'll be this person, and you will experience that archetype as fully as you can.
For example, give us an example of an archetype that someone can experience, or maybe a few that someone can experience.
I'll start with the simple one. Something as simple as gender.
Okay.
Yeah. So in one reincarnation, you can experience masculinity to its fullest. You can experience masculinity at its lowest and masculinity at its highest. You could be the patriarch of your family and even go on to be the patriarch of a country and the patriarch of a nation. And then the next time, you will come back as the lowly woman in the village whose husband has condemned her from working, and
you're
she has
like
no
on the
urgency.
receiving end of the patriarch.
Yes.
Which is the toxic part of the patriarch.
But the way sometimes people will confuse reincarnation and karma as punishment. It's not punishment, it's understanding. That you have lived as this thing and you have understood it because you lived as it. So you have known it. You see, if a man tells you don't know what it feels like to be a man, and then they try to explain to you, you'll never understand. You can only empathize, but you can never understand what it is like to be a man. And a man will never understand what it is like to be a woman. Mm-hmm. So the way it happens is because, for human beings, we have to come into knowing ourselves. And we are all these things. We are both women, we are both men. So in the next reincarnation, you will come back as a woman. And especially the woman you struggle most to understand. Be it the character your mother carried, or your sister, or just your wife. The character you struggle so much with coming into terms with, you're given a chance to live as that person so that you can gain understanding. And in gaining understanding, you gain love and empathy. Because once you have understanding, you no longer have negative feelings towards something. You understand this thing is actually like this and like this because of this.
You embody it.
Yes. It's not like it's inherently erred or against me. See, when you understand, it's like a child. You understand this child is throwing tantrums because a certain part of their mind is not fully developed. So you do not hold it against the child because they're throwing tantrums.
Yeah. What about, now that we're talking of gender, what's your explanation for the transgender?
I struggled with it, by the way, for a long time. I struggled with understanding that. And the explanation I got for it actually had me laughing. The all mind or the soul or God, whatever you want to call it, told me the purpose of that level of what people will call gender confusion.
Or fluidity.
People will say they are confused. But the purpose of that level of change is so that you realize there are no genders to begin with. We spend so much time, women are like this and men are like this. So these people reincarnate as so fluid. One time they are transitioning, the next time they are detransitioning. And in that moving from one polarity to the other, you realize there was actually no polarity to begin with.
What about homosexuality?
It's almost the same thing.
Because there's an argument that they say that what happens is, like, in one lifetime, let's say in this lifetime I'm a woman and I'm so identified as being a woman, and the next time I come back in the body of a man, but I retain the identity or the identification of a woman. So it's just that I come in a different body, but the memories are more dense.
They tend to follow you.
Something like that. That's an explanation I've ever had, and actually makes sense to some extent, but what's you?
Let me just summarize it like this. The purpose of these, what do you call them? Like, it's almost a form of chaos into society.
Mm-hmm.
Get? Like when you're having debates about transgender or homosexual, people are so bitter and angry about it. The purpose of that is to force you to go within and realize that there's no difference between you and that person.
I think so.
No, the purpose of that actually is to force you to love yourself and others. To realize, who am I? Who am I to namwangalia chini kama nani? Who am I to look down on this person? In what capacity? And it's just for human beings to realize. And you'll see the same thing even with, like right now, I'm very deep into American politics because I find it so entertaining. The the left and the right have been fighting so much that when they had this incident with Charlie Kirk, they both came together and realized, wait a minute, there's no left, there's no right. So the purpose of let me call it chaos, because people will perceive, when they see things like homosexuality or like these people, they are distorting they're spoiling the family values. They're kind of causing a chaos. Upcoming groups and factions, even with like something like spirituality, I'd say is a faction that is kind of causing chaos in reality. But I came to learn the purpose of chaos is to learn that, first of all, there was no need for chaos to begin with, and there was no need for division. It is through chaos that we learn. The concept of division is such a silly illusion. So I'll give you an example for like the US politics, the left and the right. They've been fighting for so long, like, they even have like, you can't marry a liberal, you can't marry a Republican. And then the other day with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and with the whole drama, both factions started looking at each other like, wait a minute, somebody is playing us, and we are really not enemies of each other. We are actually not different from each other. We are experiencing the same thing. And you can even look at it at Kenyan level. You fight so much within your own communities, and then eventually you come to realize, wait a minute, we're actually the same person. But when you began fighting, you didn't realize you are the same person. Yeah, you look at our neighbors here, Rwanda, they fought so hard, and then eventually they're just like, wait a minute.
True. Yeah.
There was never a reason for me to dislike you. There was never a reason for me to fight you. So the purpose of these new factions that come is a way to push us into oneness collectively. That you see somebody who's able to change the agenda from this and that, and it makes you think, so is the agenda to begin with? And it brings you out of that mentality like, the masculine is bad. Oh, no, the feminine is evil. There's no fight. There's no enemy to fight. There is no differences. The only thing for us to do is to reconcile those aspects within ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's so interesting how we need to... it's funny how everything had to come outside.
So that you can see it.
So that you see it, and then now you,
so that you can
bring it back in and integrate it.
And this goes even for like leaders and whatnot. The leaders they are a representation of us.
Yeah.
And by you seeing the atrocity of their behavior, it makes you go inside and want to correct it. They are a mirror. The world is just a mirror. Just see it as a mirror and everything. When I was learning these things, I came to learn some of these musicians, they were really in the know. Think of Michael Jackson. Man in the Mirror, the song Man in the Mirror. He was really in the know.
Yeah.
He was really, if you want to make this world a better place, take a look at yourself. Change. It's like,
but people don't want to do that. Like, okay, the ego doesn't want to do that.
It's easier to be a victim. Being a victim, and it's so pleasurable. It's not me.
It's like a comfort zone.
It's them, It's so easy, but there is power in taking accountability. There's a lot of power in taking accountability. I could have never healed myself had I not first admitted to myself that it is I. The first thing I actually had to do, I had to admit it's I who wrote that script.
I love that.
I wrote that script. I decided, even before I was born, these are the challenges I will experience in my waking life. I decided. So I had to take myself out of why did you do this? I did that to myself. And because I did that to myself, I could undo it to myself as well, because I am the writer of the scripts. So simple.
So you believe the script is not a predestination? You can change it. It's become a blueprint. If you're building a house, in fact, that's a question. We're discussing this with my sister. When you come, you set up the elements that you would have. That's like the blueprint of your life. Did you set up that in the blueprint that you would undo it, or is the blueprint set? Are you getting my question?
Yeah. That is also something that I struggled with. But I came to learn, we are dealing with a supercomputer. Because God is like a super, all all probabilities are already predetermined.
Mm.
Everything that you have become and will become is already predetermined. That means you have already won and you have already lost. So you can never feel bad about the things that have happened to you in life, or the things that you wanted to achieve or you couldn't achieve, because you were never meant to achieve them. You have always been correct at every step. Every mistake you made, every correction you made, every decision you made was the correct one, because it already was, even before. Wow. And it really frees you from the burden of, I wanted to be this. You are what you're supposed to be, and that's okay. And if you're able to go inside and look at your script and at everything you've gone through, you will learn so much about our godhood just from looking at your script and just seeing the purpose for it.
I have a question in my mind about divorce. I have a friend who's going through divorce, and I wonder what you think about if she looks at her life, the way, using exactly what you're saying, that it was meant to be and it is for your own good, using your words. Your words are beautiful. How would you speak to such a person?
To sign the divorce papers and be glad. Rejoice and be glad. See, there's a problem with humans of attachment. Every single person who comes into your life is there to play a part in your own personal elevation, both spiritually and mentally. And when they are finished with their role they are supposed to play, they will leave. Be it friends, be it family, spouses. Everybody is here to play a role. How many friends along the way have you fallen out with? And there was no, even if there was an argument, but they played their role. So there's nothing wrong with being divorced. There's nothing wrong with losing friends. There's nothing wrong with losing jobs, because those parts played their role in their life. In your life, they played a role. Yours is to try and figure out, what did I learn? What did I gain from this engagement? And stop seeing the act itself as something horrific and see it as a guiding tool. Okay, fine, I did get divorced, but in this marriage that we had, what did I gain? I gained children. I have learned how to have boundaries. I have had to learn how to love myself, because I have known what it is like to not be loved by somebody you feel should love you. And so I learned how to love myself. I have learned how to fend for myself, because I have learned what it is like to not be provided for by somebody else. And thus, through that, I learned how to provide for myself and became my own person. Through the actions or inactions of this other person, I have learned to be more of myself. That is the purpose of all human interaction, for you to learn more of yourself through that interaction, be it good, be it bad.
Interesting. Wow. That I will send her this. She needs to see it. Why do good things happen? Why do bad things happen to good people?
Bad things don't happen to good people. It's just another point of for you to just feel like, oh, look at me, I'm so righteous. The world doesn't like me because I'm so. Just another way for somebody to play victim. But what happens is we'll go back to talk about it in the hermetic principles.
Yeah, we will talk.
The concept of polarity. So the concept of polarity says that polar opposites of a thing must exist. So we have hot, we have cold, but both these things are temperatures. They're just temperatures, but opposite polarities of that. The same applies to human experiences. That if you spend too much time being good, for there to be balance, you must have an experience of evil. To a certain degree, I know it sounds like really bad. Like somebody might be watching this and feel like, no, but that's the truth, that you have to gain an understanding of evil. You don't have to be it, but you have to gain an understanding of it. So what happens is that people who consider themselves good spend so much time pointing the finger at the people they consider bad, that the evil of that person is pulled into their life so that they can gain understanding. Because you see, there's also the law of attraction that if you concentrate too much on something, that thing becomes you. So when you consider yourself, in order for you to consider yourself good, you have to consider somebody else bad. That means you're passing judgment on them. So judgment must be passed on you as well, because you passed judgment on others. The only way to avoid that is to see no evil, to do no evil, and to hear no evil.
Wow. What's the difference between that and indifference or being
indifferent? That's actually the word indifference. Indifference. So in the sense that this one's quite it took me a long time to understand this. But just don't point. Don't like these people, this politician, this person that I dated did this and this to me, because it pulls that experience closer to you. It's like the more you reject something and you judge it, and it pulls that to you. It pulls that experience close to you. And so you must experience it. And because you have a victim mentality, because you consider yourself, oh, look at me, I'm so good, it becomes a cycle of you experiencing harsh and horrendous things. But the only reason for that is because you're giving it your attention. If you become indifferent to it, it just removes itself from your reality. And you stop viewing people as lower or higher vibration. Because now when you look at a person, you're just like, these people who behave like this, they're so lower vibration. And so they're brought into your reality so that you can recognize that you're not any different. You have no right to look down on them. It's not in your place.
That's why the Bible says, judge not so that you should not be judged. But judgment was supposed to be left to God. Don't be the one.
It's not in your place, exactly. It's not in your place.
Speaking of which, before you go to the hematic close, I remembered another question. You said that the Bible became one of your favorite books. What perception did you get? What lessons were redefined for you?
I realized the Bible was the story of God from creation into human beings and then back into godness. It's a story it's a story about creation, and also it's a story towards godhood. So like from what I call the all mind or the zero mind, the way we trickle down into the physical reality, and also the way we go up back into that level of godhood. And one of my favorite authors is Solomon. I feel like my journey and his are so familiar. Solomon is actually the path of spirituality. Solomon embodies it perfectly. He embodies it perfectly. And you'll find that all the lessons you've learned in your journey of Gnosis, you'll always find a Bible character, even though they will hide it in allegories, who went exactly through that lesson.
To pay example.
So I'll go back to Solomon. I love Solomon. Solomon, after maybe saying this anyway, Solomon, after he amassed a lot of physical wealth, and also he amassed a lot of spiritual wealth, but in the end he said it's all vanity. I went through the same thing as well, and it really to come to learn that we're just here for experiences. There is no reward for, this one was very spiritual, or this one was a president, or this one was so good, this one was so bad, they'll be punished. No, we're here for experiences. And they're just that, experiences. They end at that. There is no punishment or reward for those. They're just that, experiences. And those experiences lead us into an inner understanding of the human psyche, human soul. I feel like that particular one. And there's another one.
What did you make of the Old Testament, God killing everyone, pitting people against each other, now that you talked of division? Because he looked like a very divided guy.
Yeah.
What did you make of it? now
Yeah,
with
this is
the
a
new-
very like complex
if
we need
it's
to
too complex,
understand.
we can skip it.
Yeah, it's quite complex because the Bible is written in dimensions. So all 12 dimensions are written there as stories.
For real, like
Yeah.
the 12 dimensions that we know.
Yes. So that's a very broad topic for me to explain. But you understand what I was telling you in the human archetypes, the soul, the archetypes of the God mind, the archetypes of the soul. Kuna archetype moja yenye ni ya chaos, kuna ingine ya division, kuna ingine ya love, kuna ingine ya hatred, kuna ingine ya... So those archetypes sometimes will show up as deities and as groups of human beings. Yeah, so it's a very broad topic. And that is why we are told not to judge, because you see, the way what you are right now, you had no choice in becoming what you are right.
I believe that now.
And those people you look at and they are so awful, they actually had no choice in becoming what they are. And you can even see this by, for example, you see research about people who are criminals. You can always find a lot of trauma when they were younger and exposure to the same criminality that they participate in. And a lot of people who are prominent business people, you track them down and their whole family used to be prominent business people. So is it that this person is so good and intelligent and the other person is dumb because of their own might?
No.
Exactly, because we all have roles that we've been written for. It's just it's a big play and we are characters in it. So that's a very broad topic, and maybe next time
We have to. Yeah, I think I'll
it's very
just
broad. It is that will
segment
take
it.
like 3 episodes, I swear. It's so big. It's so big.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I'd love to learn that.
Yeah.
So now take us through the hematic principles, maybe from what they are. I can read them and then takuna
Yeah.
there. So what are they? The principles.
The principles are kind of the laws with which the energy we exist in moves. The laws which the energy follows to move, kinda like the direction with which the way that energy behaves are what those hermetic principles are.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way for us to understand how energy moves within the world that we exist in right now. So that's what they are.
Mm.
And through those hermetic principles, you can find those principles in all particles.
Okay.
You can find them in biology, chemistry, food science, in every single thing that we experience is based upon the hermetic principles.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So the first one is the principle of mentalism.
Yeah. So mentalism is the principle of mentalism explains that everything that we can see outside first existed inside our minds. I'll start with a simple example. Think of the prettiest building. You know, what is the prettiest building you know?
Eiffel Tower. I haven't been there, but it's what came to mind.
Okay. So think of the Eiffel Tower. When was the first time the Eiffel Tower was built?
I think
The first time it
1900.
occurred. The first time.
In the person's mind?
Yes.
Yeah.
When is the first time this microphone occurred? That
In
person's
the
mind.
like Graham Bell, probably, or something.
Yes. That the first time everything we see, the buildings, the world, the first time they occurred as a thought. So the principle of mentalism is just to explain to us that everything that we can see outside first existed inside our minds. So I'll give a couple examples for this. For example, any building that you see, the first time it occurred inside the mind of the architect as a thought. And then he built upon that thought and created something physical. That applies to every single thing we can see. Recipes, foods, restaurants, clothes, they first existed as an idea. But that's just on the human scale. The world as we know it and nature as we know it, the first time it occurred as a thought inside the mind of God.
Mm-hmm.
Because all of these are just thoughts inside the mind of God. Mm-hmm. And we are inside the mind of God, and we are also the mind of God. Yes.
What? Okay, continue.
Yeah. It's It's
Conundrum.
yeah,
I've never heard of that last part before.
yeah. In the sense that think of it like a packet of biscuits. So if it's full, that's the mind of God. If you remove one cookie, one biscuit, and put it aside, it's one biscuit, it's part of the mind of God, but it's also just one biscuit. So it exists by itself. But if it wants to experience Godhood, it just finds its way back into the packet of biscuits and becomes one with God.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. The principle of correspondence.
So the principle of correspondence is a principle that explains that all particles have relation to each other in all stages. So an example for this, I'm gonna use planetary examples because that's what I'm proficient in. So if you're a person who studied plants and planets, you realize that plants are categorized now in like mystic healing. They are categorized along planets. I don't know if that's a very good example. So you'll find some plants that are majorly Venusian. And inside of your body, there are also organs that are Venusian. So the plants that are Venusian heal the parts of your body that are Venusian. Get? So all particles exist within all particles on a micro and macro scale. So if you can observe one particle and understand it completely, you can automatically use the understanding from this particle and apply it on this particle, because all particles are basically the same thing at different frequencies. So, for example, you can study just chemistry and be just a chemistry person. And in just understanding chemistry, you understand everything else in your environment. You can study biology, and just by understanding biology to the smallest minute detail, all the atoms inside a human body, the blood vessels, everything, a biologist will automatically be able to apply those principles into other aspects of life because it's all the same thing at different wavelengths. Is that clear?
Very clear.
Yeah.
The principle of vibration.
The principle of vibration is just an explanation that all particles are always in a state of motion. There is no particle that can exist without it being in a state of motion. So you look at this table, it seems like it's not moving, but inside its atomic form, it's moving, it's vibrating. And the speed at which an object vibrates dictates what that object becomes. So if it's vibrating too high, you might not even be able to see it because of how fast it's vibrating. So you might not be able to perceive it. But if it's vibrating a bit low, you can see it. Even lower, you can touch it. And even lower, it now dictates the density between these different matters. So say iron and steel, they're both metals, but the difference in the mass is just because of how slow or fast they are vibrating, and that is what makes the difference. But they're all the same thing. So that's also why people cannot see spirits or other beings, is because they are vibrating too fast for our eyes to see them. That does not mean that they don't exist. Just the vibration is different. If you can upgrade your vibration, you'll also be able to see them. Because so yeah, that's just the concept of vibration, that all particles are always in a state of constant motion.
The fourth one is the principle of polarity, which touched up.
Yeah, so I'll just go over it again, that the concept of polarity is just understanding that every single thing in this world has two farthest and opposite sides of it. So hot and cold, day and night, but it's the same thing with opposite levels of it, love and hate. But at the end of it, those two things are just the same thing, but at different polarities and different wavelengths, but they're just the same thing.
Yeah, I had something in on your content where you were talking about love and hate being the same thing.
the
It's
same
the same
thing.
emotion.
It's the same emotion, and that's why people who have learned to transmute it, they will use celebrities most of the time and content creators. They will literally post something that will cause you to hate them and be outraged by them, and they will convert it into something that is tangible, like money. And after a while, the people even forget they used to hate those people.
It's so true.
Yeah, because it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You understand that the people who hate you and love you, they both pay the same amount of attention to you. But people who are indifferent to you don't even notice you. But your haters, they keep track. They know everything that you're doing. Just the same as the people that you love. Because they both, it's the same thing, just a different. And if you learn how to work with it, you can move it the way you want and learn to use it. Learn to use that hate and turn it into love. And you can even use this love and turn it into hate if you want. You'll see it a lot even with especially in the creative industry.
I can't even.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like this person knows that their followers, they love them, but they've not been giving them the amount of viewership that they want. So they do something that they know would be so outrageous to their followers. And the more the followers, yeah, how can you do this? And we've been supporting you. And the hate also turns into support. And after 2 months, they've already forgotten. They've gone. And you see this with politics. You see this with even movies.
I feel like someone can use it to manipulate people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my, I have so many names in my head right now. Like, kumbe nimekuwa nikichezwa. That's why you were saying I call it equanimity, being indifferent, like I feel like that's true power. If you're able to not keep fluctuating.
Because you learn how to, even businesses will do this. You'll find, not mention names because we're posting this on YouTube, but you'll find big corporations that produce the same soda in different bottles. And one starts with a P and the other one starts with a C. And they will have these campaign fights. And they have, some people just, I can never drink this one and I can never, but they're all owned by the same company. They just found a way to use both, to capture both polarities and use. And
I feel so manipulated.
And this applies to literally all products. There's something called corporate psychology. They use this. That's why you find a product, like you go to the supermarket, you find 3 conflicting products. They're all owned by the same major corporation.
Oh, that's so smart.
You see, the thing is, if you understand the laws of this world, you automatically have an easier time in it. And when you don't understand it, you always live in a state of constant chaos. That's why they say the truth shall set you free. That is the truth that sets us free.
Oh.
Yeah.
The principle of rhythm.
So the principle of rhythm is to understand that energy is always moving in wavelengths, up and down. Energy is always moving in wavelengths of up and down. A simple way to explain this is something like seasons. Some seasons are very dry, and then some seasons are rainy, and all these stages in this wavelength are so important towards our own existence. You can imagine if we didn't have dry seasons, then the soil would not, the products in the soil would not decompose. It would just rot. So we would not have manure because there's no sun to burn the soil and the manure and whatnot. It's only because the sun shines so hard that the next season we are able to plant when the rain comes. This does not only exist in nature out there, it also exists in our personal human experiences. At your lowest is when you become your greatest person.
Oh.
Think of every time you have hit rock bottom. You have found a version of yourself you didn't know existed and rode with that version and became that version because you are at your lowest. Had you not gone down, you'd never have gone up. You cannot go up without going down. And so the trick in life is to learn how to ride the wavelength and to understand when the wavelengths are coming and to ride them with grace, mercy for yourself, because they are going to be there. You cannot avoid it. Yeah. That is the concept of rhythm.
Then the principle of cause and effect, the only one I know of the 7.
So yeah, cause and effect. This one is well known. It's just that every action has a reaction, or
Equal and opposite.
yes, equal and opposite reaction. This is now what people will call karma or dharma. Don't know if that's how those words are pronounced. So every single thing you do will have a reaction somewhere else. This is by law, and there's nothing you can really do about it. But now is our understanding of it that is different. Doesn't mean that because you are a good person, the world is going to be good to you. No. No. It's much more complex than that. Yeah, it's much more complex than that. In fact, if anything, it's kind of like the opposite.
That's why I was asking, why do bad things happen to good people? Because these are
Yeah.
the good people who think that when you do something good, good comes, and then not good comes, like a lot of bad comes. So is it because they did something in their past? We'll explain that.
So let me try and explain. Just because you see what happens, it's an equal and opposite reaction. Like you experience the opposite of that.
Really?
There's a very clever way to go about it. But it's to explain it in this session would be a bit difficult, but let me try. So for example, so if you insist on being what you perceive as a good person, the only way to avoid the backlash of experiencing bad is by not seeing yourself as a good person.
Yes, do that.
Not viewing yourself as, oh, look at me, I'm doing this because, look, I'm so good. Because now you have to experience now the other opposite effect of that. You see?
It makes sense. Yeah, it does make sense. I'm understanding.
So, yes, you love being a good person, but you have to remove the sense of ego that you're so great. When you give somebody money to buy food, you're not giving them money because you're so great and charitable. You just give because you had it and they asked and they needed it. No emotions towards it, no superiority complex around it. And I don't know if you know this, but if you've noticed, a lot of rich people and billionaires have mastered this. They do not shine in their glory. Oh, look at me, I'm doing this foundation. They are so indifferent to the causes that they give to. Because I don't know if it's subconsciously they kind of understand that concept of just giving just because.
So let me get you straight. If I give just because, I'll get the good.
Let me explain to you.
I'll get.
For example, now, cause and effects is just karma. So, for example, you find a street child, and every day you pass there, you give them food because you're such a good person, and look at them. Wanateseka, they need help. You see, because you see, when you feel sympathy for something, sympathy comes from superiority. To see that experience as lesser. So because you're supposedly a good person, every time you pass down the street, you always buy food for this child, and you feel so good about yourself. You even mention it, even help this child. But you see, this world is a cause and effect. You have to be given what you have given. But now the problem is, for you to be given, you have to be there like that child. So in order for you to experience the good that you supposedly gave into the world, you must become the lesser than that was being given the good.
So for you to avoid that, when you give,
Being
you
different.
you need to let go of ego.
You don't
usitake kureceive.
Hata usijione kama you are such a good person because you're giving. You are giving, you have extra, somebody else doesn't have. Chukua, simple. There is no thought towards it. There is no feelings attached towards it. You'll find that a lot of activists tend to suffer the crime that they fight, the injustice that they fight against. Even if when they started, they never suffered from it, they always end up suffering from it. Go do your research. Just think of any activist you know. Whatever they advocated against and spent so much time fighting, they always end up experiencing that thing to even a worse degree than the people they were defending.
It's because ego came in the way. At some point, they started becoming
They identified themselves with that struggle.
With the struggle. Yeah, it's making sense.
So yeah, you do things, but you really have to remove the superiority complex. And that even counts in even just something as simple as crime, just like those thugs. They're so bad. Don't concentrate on what they've done. Concentrate on what you can do. Because when you concentrate too much on them, you end up becoming that thing because you've spent so much time condemning it. So you see, the concept of karma is very complicated, and that is why people struggle with it. It's very complicated. Because it's not as simple as, oh, look at me, I did something good, so something good. Wapi.
I have never seen the opposite, that cause and effect. Like, things are, guy, I'm like, wow. Like, I hadn't seen the opposite in things are, what's the word?
Say the complexity of it all.
Yeah, no. I want the phrase. Yenye inakwanga na opposite. Mind yangu actually.
Polarities.
No. Action and reaction are equal and opposite. I had never understood the opposite in that phrase. Action and reaction are equal and opposite. Now I understand it and I'm shook. I'm like, wow. And in my religion, Hindu, my guru has taught us to every time you do something, if you forget, because you will forget during the day, when you're sleeping, you should offer everything you've done to God. When you do that, you escape the opposite. So you do everything and offer it to the person who is actually the doer, because the day you identify yourself as the doer,
exactly,
inakugeuka.
We are not the doers.
Yes.
Understand? That's what I was telling you. You have never failed and you have never succeeded because you were never the doer to begin with. So avoid that, you just avoid. Juadio mara mingi.
Yeah, actually.
Even helping people, it comes from a superiority complex.
He actually, my guru teaches that a lot. Yes. He's like, you have to be very careful who you are doing charity to, and the attitude also.
A lot of charity is based upon superiority complex.
Where?
Even as simple as people think, I'll give a case of somebody who had a very abusive caregiver. Mm-hmm. So they spend so much time saying, they did this to me, they were so bad. I hope they suffer, but you know what happens is that you actually end up, and you're so blind to it that you never realize, but you become the same. You start to embody those characteristics that you hated so much. Mm. And you keep waiting to see punishment being bestowed on that person you think they are so bad, but nothing happens. If anything, you become the worse than them, and you even feel the other effect of now being just like them. Well, you see them. That's why people say, people are not being punished, or people are doing bad and they're not being punished. Mm-hmm. Why are you waiting for them to be punished in the first place? See, all of it comes. The thing with this thing, it does not want superiority complex. You really have to humble yourself so that you can humanize other people and see creation for what it is.
And also see that is potentiality in yourself.
Yeah. The fact that
you will embody it, and then that punishment you wanted vetted on this person will come to you.
The fact that you can even see that evil in that person, it means that inside of you there's a small speck of it that exists.
We talked of the mirror.
Yeah.
But I'm mind blown. Yeah. The 7th principle, the principle of gender.
So the principle of gender just states that every single thing you can see around you has a feminine and masculine version of it. Mm-hmm. This is not to mean man or woman. I'm just talking about feminine and masculine energies. So every single inside of our bodies, we have both the feminine and the masculine. This applies to trees, plants, soils, and everything you can see is either feminine or masculine. And you'll see on a certain level, humans kind of understand it, that like they will give ships female names. Yeah. The reason for that is because the water is mostly feminine. It's like there's a part of us that understands that, and then a part of us that also is forgetful of it. But every single thing you see is half feminine and is half masculine. So also why you don't want to spend so much time calling out. Also, calling out comes from superiority complex. calling out the other gender for being awful, because that energy in them exists in you as well. So you find that even the more you spend time, going back to cause and effect, the more you spend time, so I'm talking for my women because I also spend a lot of time doing that, saying like, oh, men are this and that. You always end up dating those men who are this and that. Even, in fact, the more you are trying to escape them, keep meeting more sophisticated versions of that thing that you're running away from. And it's because spend pointing all the time, you end up pulling that energy towards. Yeah.
I have a question. Yeah. Last question, because we really need to end because we can't even finish.
Yeah.
What happens to people who have been socialized into? It's like it's not the fault of their own that they happen to have certain mindsets. They went through maybe abuse. That's why they don't like a certain gender, for example. And I'm talking of all the principles. What's the place of socialization in life?
You remember when we were talking about we give ourselves obstacles, and the joy of life is to overcome these obstacles in order to understand ourselves more. So it's not your fault per se that you're in a certain situation, but it's your fault if you linger in it. Yeah.
You always have a choice.
Yeah, and like, just because, say, you meet people who understand these concepts, make no mistake to think that they've not suffered those things. But you have to work on yourself to heal every version of yourself so that you can gain understanding. It is in that chaos and the healing of the chaos that you gain understanding. So yes, you could have experienced a certain amount of violence. But you see, what happens is that violence not only breaks you mentally, it breaks you energetically as well. And in order for you to heal that part of you, maybe that feminine part of you or masculine part of you that was injured, you actually have to forgive them and yourself as well. And in doing that, that energy aligns itself. But if you linger in it, now you just experience a broken version of you, which reflects outside as a broken reality, or a reality that you don't want for yourself, or a repeat of realities as well. I've seen that happen where somebody keeps experiencing the same kind of abuse over, and it doesn't matter where they move to or where they run to, but it's because their minds are so centered in the initial experience that they're unable to remove themselves out of it. So they pull more of that energy repeatedly to their. So that's why mental healing is very necessary, so that we can be able to create new realities.
And is that something you help people with?
Yeah, that is something that I do with people. I do classes. I don't like calling them like counseling sessions, but yeah, I help people work through their issues until they're able to break through those barriers. Yeah, that I do.
Awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to maybe add or share with the audience, and where they might find you if they would love to I hope they contact you.
Really?
You're amazing.
So yeah, maybe I can give my contact.
Yeah, of course we'll put them down there.
You'll just put them. So I'm only, when it comes to social media, I'm only on TikTok. So yeah, I'll make my page available. There's not too many of you, but please join so that I can even be motivated to make more content. But on a personal level, I do help people with matters, trauma and healing and Gnosis. So I will guide you through understanding your own self until you get to that level where you no longer need me. And right now I'm only doing individual sessions. So all my clients, I deal with them individually. I don't mix. But who knows, maybe in time I'll be hosting classes. I don't know. But
we have to do classes. Whether it's your higher self who told me or not, but I could just envision a place where I'm coming for your classes.
Yeah, it's something, I know I'm supposed to do it, but I just have not set myself up for that. I just started small. But yeah, that is something that I do. I help with understanding all issues regarding our inner selves, Gnosis, call it spirituality, psychology, all of those things, because they all come and intertwine into one. So I do help in resolving them and understanding them. Yes, and I take my time. I am very patient, so I take my time with my clients, and you feel very safe with me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, you're brilliant. And yeah, you do have a lot of patience. I can feel that energy. I can feel that energy. So we'll have to call it a session and we have to come back because I have hardly have two questions that I had planned on asking you. Plus, gosh, you have so much knowledge.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you as well. I've really enjoyed myself. I love talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed myself, and thank you so much for the platform. And it was nice meeting you as well. You're really cool. You know, I love life because every time you just meet somebody else and somebody else.
Yeah. Thank you.
You know, we are so beautiful. Human beings are so beautiful.
We are.
Yeah.
It's actually good to keep meeting beautiful people so that we can reinforce the beauty of life. Because that's in a way.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm thankful because I've met you. I know I'll meet other people through your platform, and I'm really thankful for that. You have no idea how much. I was so excited even in the morning.
Thank you. That's sweet.
Yeah. I really I throw myself into something when I'm doing it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Thank you also, audience, for staying with us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please stay tuned, subscribe, and follow us on our social media.
Yeah, she'll tag me on her name, and then you'll see me.
I will. She's very knowledgeable, so you're going to see her content. But thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in the next session on Beauty Lies Beyond Podcast. But until then, kwaherini.
Bye.